We are about to start doing the tile. The first thing that we want to do is put a ledger board. As you can see, I got a laser level right there, and that is hopefully going to get me a tile exactly in the middle, right? Not a tile, but this mixing valve will be right in the middle of a tile, and then the faucet head will be right in the middle of a tile. That is the desire though. Working from there down, that puts me with a tile starting right here, and because we're doing a linear drain against that wall, it's going to be a one slope shower pan, so we're going to have some angles to cut down on the bottom. So we're going to put a ledger board perfectly level all the way across here, and that'll allow us to work our way from there up, and then when all is said and done, we'll take that ledger board out and put the cut tile pieces on the bottom once we get our Schluter pan put down in there.
If you're doing a ledger board like this, you do to make sure you seal those holes, either with Curdy Fix caulk or with Curdy band overlap. I do this in a different video, linked in the description below.
Now I want to leave the corner open because we have an expansion joint piece that goes there, and we want to make sure we have room for that. Ledger board in place, and got my Schluter hat on, and as you can see right here, this is a Schluter product as well. This is their corner profile. So if you look down the profile of the profile, you can kind of see what's going on there. There is a groove for the tile to slide into on one side or the other. I'm choosing to put it on the back wall so that you see less of this fake grout line. You can get different colors. And I have all of these cut out, so we're going to go ahead and use the same thin set mortar to mortar all these corners into place. I got a corner here, corners back over here by the bench, and then we are ready for our first piece of tile.
I didn't go over my process for mixing up thin set in this video, but I have done it before, and I have a link to that video down in the description below. I do think in the future I'll come out with another one that goes over the specific kind of viscosities you want for that thin set in the future, so make sure you guys stay tuned.
When I was troweling this flush, I was making sure I was pushing into the corner, so in and back at the same time. And make sure you clean up because that mortar won't come off of there later easily anyway. Sponge is your friend doing tile. So I'm going to continue doing all these and then we'll put some tile in. Very exciting moment. First piece of tile going in. I got my laser line and I Sharpied over that, so when I move the laser later, we have our central line going all the way up. The first tile here, I have also marked the center, which these aren't a true 12 by 12. It's 11 and 13/16 is the center of this tile. I'm gonna go ahead and lay out some mud. We need 1/2 by 1/2 on the wall. We'll back butter the tile, smoosh her into place.
In every situation you can, you want to make sure that the lines that you trowel into your mortar are going the short way of the tile. In our case, it's a 12 by 24 inch tile, 24 inches is going left to right. So the trowel lines are up and down. And the reason this is important is that when you push your back butter tile into the mortar, it allows the air to escape a little bit easier.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's go this way, where my mark is.
Later on in the video, when I'm working at the top of the shower, you will see me do trowel lines on the long way of the tile. Now, there's really nothing wrong with that. You just have to work a little bit harder to make sure all of that air is escaped out from behind the tile.
Left or right? Forgetting all my stuff. Leveling clips. Make sure we don't have mud in the groove, no mud on the bottom. Oh, you know what? I forgot to back butter this thing. That's why. See, you need a back butter.
That is a great example of why you need to back butter your tile, because I had exhibited some significant force to push that tile in, and it was barely even wet with the mortar in the background. So make sure you back butter when you're above anything that's about 6 inches wide by 24 inches long.
because this bathroom is upstairs, I got this 2EP manual tile cutter, and so far I haven't broken anything. So I'm using a lead pencil. Wax would be easier, but this cut I need at 15 5/8. I have found that it's easier to line things up if you have your mark down at the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and press up against the, I guess it's their fence. Can line it right up with the yellow line in the middle. Make sure I got my safety glasses on. And then for the first scoring cut, I mean, I found that super duper light is all that you need right here. And that's just a finger. And then I come about maybe a third down, make sure my foot is oriented, and give it a whack. There we go. I mean, that's clean enough that I can barely tell which side was cut. And so what I've done here is cut a 1/3 piece. So 1/3 of this tile, gonna do that in the corner, we'll do one full piece. So we'll have third overlaps. And I'm gonna be able to follow up with a full piece right quick here. So I will just mud that up while I'm getting dirty. And that's right here.
In a future video, I'm going to go over some of the tools that I used in this video and ones that I used in past videos and which ones I like best. Basically, the 5 or 10 tools that you need to do tiling like a pro. And one of the things I want to cover is these leveler clips that I'm using that also double as the spacers. Not actually a big fan of these. I prefer the ones I used in the past, although the older ones were a little bit more difficult to tighten everything down and level out. They definitely broke off easier, leaving you a cleaner grout line, and I'll cover that in a future video.
Cut the straight edge with the tile cutter, and then ran down and did this with the wet saw. Look pretty good. This gap is the pitch of the bench. I think we're in good shape. Not bad. Use one of these down here. Come up just a little bit. Lovely. Most of the cuts I needed to do I can use with the manual cutter upstairs, which cuts beautifully, but some of them I got to use a wet saw. There's water right here. This prevents any silica dust from getting in the air. This bed slides back and forth, and I can cut a 24-inch tile on this guy. It's just wet and obnoxious and takes a lot longer. And you have a higher likelihood of cracking, I suppose, especially when doing little cuts like this. But cuts like this you cannot do with a manual cutter saw. So I need to remove this chunk right here. So big cut here, big cut here. I'm going to cut this one first so that I have the added stability of this piece, and then we'll cut this one off because this one's going to be hanging out over the table. So we've got to really hang on to it. Typically I would try to crack this, but I'm a little bit concerned. I would like to whack this with the dry grinder real quick. accidentally snapped that one. It's very, very delicate. I think it worked out okay though.
Now moving over to the tile on the bench, pretty much the same. Wanted to make sure that all of the grout lines lined up perfectly, so I spent quite a bit of time to make sure everything was leveled out properly and to make sure that I had a full tile right in the middle of that back wall. Turned out pretty awesome. I did have the pitch for the bench already built into it when we put the Schluter Curdy board into place, so I didn't have to take that account when I was putting the tile in place.
I have found with this thing, whatever way you're wedging, like say you're wedging this way, so that's the way you're driving it in with a tool, it can kind of pull the tile for you if you want it to do something like that. So it does come in handy in certain locations if you need to pull something together. Go. Big moment here. See that mixing valve? 4.5 inch hole, and it is right in the middle this way of the tile. It's not quite in the middle this way because, as you can see with you probably can't see, but there's like a 1 inch piece of tile underneath the niche. I was a little bit off with everything, but that is the center of my 4.5 inch hole, and I'm going to cut it with a diamond cutting wheel on my angle grinder. And you know what just so happens to be 4.5 inches is a cutting wheel. So if we line it up just like this, score a line with our wax pencil, that should be about where we want to cut it. Let's give it a whirl. A little nervous. Safety glasses on. Well, this looks awesome. I don't know if you guys can see. This looks awesome. This not so much, but we can grind a little bit out of there. This will be covered up as well.
Well, you will have to take my word for it that this fit perfectly, because with the GoPro on your head, you can't really see, but it did turn out nice.
This is the spout faucet shower head hole. So this is a rather cheap tile cutting bit that I got on Amazon. This is just a little bob that comes with it to help you balance, because this one does not have a driver hole, a pilot hole, so this will hold it in place. I'm just gonna spray some water over it and use the rigid drill. Hopefully we don't crack it. That was remarkably uneventful and remarkably nice. Wonderful. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up this video. Going to try something a little bit different, do slightly shorter videos that maybe focus on something that's a little more technical instead of a watch me build this all the time type of stuff, because YouTube has been being very kind to our channel right now and not displaying these videos to you guys, so it's not going to hurt to try something different at this point. So we got all the tile in this video. We obviously need to do the niche back there, which has all of the Schluter Rondeck profiles on it, and we need to do the River Rock floor. that you can see down there, as well as the spectacular linear drain. We've been using this bathroom for a couple of months now. It is awesome. I hope you guys that have been watching are enjoying that video, and you have that thumbs up button to help us out and get these videos in front of more eyes, which is the whole point of doing this effort. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'm DIY Tyler, and you guys have a good one.